Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Welcome my Hadith disciples, YouTubers and viewers upon the Sunnah and Athar to another exclusive episode of F.M.F 5 Minutes of Fa'idah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah amma ba'd. One of the Salaf al-Salih, the early Muslims, the best of the Muslims, most knowledgeable, most righteous, and most importantly, one of the most courageous, or from the most courageous and bravest of the generations of the Muslims, he was asked one day, the people had saw him to be a great zahid, someone who didn't indulge in the permissible things of the worldly life too much, an ascetic, one who avoided this life to a large extent. They asked him, Ma zahadaka fi dunya? What has caused you to have this great amount of zuhd? What is it? You don't like nice things? You don't like to eat and drink certain things? You don't enjoy women? You don't enjoy luxury? What has caused you to have such a derogatory outlook towards the dunya and have such a potent level of zuhd? Now keep in mind, the person who asked him was also from the Salaf al-Salih. They were in the generation of the zuhad, of those who practiced zuhd. So his zuhd obviously was of a high level and of a very strong rank. So they asked him, he said, Ma zahadaka fi dunya? This righteous Muslim, he said the following three things, which show us a great deal of his profound knowledge and penetrating wisdom. The three things. Number one, he said, كثرة جفائها وقلة وفائها وخسة شركائها. He says these are the three reasons which have caused me to look down upon this worldly life as such a manner. Number one, he says كثرة جفائها. He says the abundant crudeness, the abundant cruelness, the abundant roughness, and the fragile nature of this life has caused me to turn away and look away from it. The dunya is a lot of jafaf. Things are not soft. Things are not kind. It's a very cold world, as they say, a cold world. So it's a lot of jafat in the worldly life. It isn't something which is always tolerant and courteous. People die. People are oppressed. People are wronged. The big, the strong, they swallow up and they gulp the weak, etc. Number two, he says, وَقِلَّةُ وَفَائِهَا. He says, in the amount of loyalty and the respect that the people should give and show each other in this worldly life is very low. People cheat, people steal, people conspire against each other, people, they make conspiracies all of the time just for worldly gain. And the partner betrays his partner, the husband betrays his wife, the wife betrays her husband, the son doesn't respect the parent, the student stabs the teacher in the back. As the poet said, I taught him the art of the bow and arrow, I taught him how to shoot. And when he became a proficient archer, he shot me with an arrow. There's no wafa. Last but not least, he says, وَخِسَّةُ شُرَكَائِهَا. He says the people that own this life, or these worldly things, the politicians, the rulers, the kings, the ambassadors, the courtiers, the people who fight for this worldly life, he says there's khissa. They're khasis, they're low, they're base people. They're not honorable people. They're not noble people. They aren't people that have prestige and integrity. Rather, most of them lie, they steal, they cheat just for something from this hayat to dunya. So just stop and think about this, brothers and sisters. Think about the world today as we see it. Read the books of history 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 300 years ago, 1,000 years ago. Read about the wars that were fought. Read about the people that were betrayed, the people who committed treason against them, their friends, their families, their countries, and the list goes on. And most importantly, look at the tree that's behind me. Look how beautiful it is. Look how subtle it is, how fragrant and aromatic the tree is. But in a couple of months, the petals will fall down. The fragrance will fade. The tree will become barren. And there will be snow upon many of these branches. And it won't be as pleasant to look at and to enjoy and to sit under. And that's because things go up, things go down. Things happen, things change. The worldly life is always constantly like this. There isn't a constant wafa, and there's constant jafa. The worldly life is always turbulent on one scale or another. And no matter how peaceful this ambiance may be, as we speak, there are people right now that are getting their lives taken from them. There are Muslims right now as we speak that are being bombed, that are starving, they don't have water to drink. They don't have sanitary napkins to clean themselves, and the list goes on. As we speak right now, there's someone who's trading and cheating and deceiving the next individual. This is the nature of this hayat to dunya. And that's why Allah Azza wa Jal, He constantly asks us and demands us to reflect. Until the next episode of F.M.F 5 Minutes of Fa'idah, may you be under the protection of Ar-Rahman.